Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So as you probably have seen, if you pay attention to the news, there are a lot of articles coming out as it pertains to the trucking industry. Unfortunately, I cannot tackle them all in one video, but we will focus on the one big statement that FreightWaves made just a couple of days ago. They say that our freight recession is over. So let's chat about it. Ready? Let's go. Now, two quick updates before we actually get into this video. Number one, I did not forget about what I said in my prior video about making a plan. I'm just trying to understand how to figure out how many of us are actually on board with taking 1 week off. Numbers matter in this case, so that's still pending. Number two, after my last market update video where I didn't mention anything except for an update on the market, I realized that there are more than a few folks that are trying to find Easter eggs in my videos that will give away my political views. Guys, there will not be any Easter eggs in my videos. This channel is definitely not about my political views. However, politics do play a role in the trucking industry, so we will be talking about current events as they occur and how they influence trucking. You guys are more than welcome to speak your mind in the comments, but I will be taking a neutral and objective position on this channel. All right, so big news is coming out from FreightWaves, and I want to explore this with you guys. On Friday, FreightWaves released an article titled "The Great Freight Recession is Officially Over." Now, that is a bold statement. So let's chat about what data they are looking at and what signals they are getting that the freight recession is actually over. Number one is the fact that FreightWaves states that over the past few months, they have been getting signals that this recession is coming to an end. But on Friday, they actually saw something else. It has to do with tender rejections, and they saw that tender rejections on Friday hit over 6%. Now, as FreightWave states, and I quote, 6% signals that the market is tightening and carriers may now have more control in choosing which loads they accept. Now, last week during the market update, we did see that rejection rates did tick up, and we also saw that contract carriers are getting paid closer to what the spot carriers are getting paid. The one thing that we could not answer last week is why are contract carriers actually rejecting more freight? Is it the fact that the weather is about to get bad? Is it the fact that because they're getting paid less than they did last year, they don't have as much of a cushion that protects them against the higher expenses? Maybe they downsized, or perhaps they're getting better offers elsewhere. Only time will tell. Now, increasing rejection rates usually means that volume is going up on the spot market and is actually increasing those rates as long as capacity either stays the same or decreases. So in terms of capacity, someone asked me to calculate, and I did. Over the past year, we have lost over 10,000 MCs. No one knows how many trucks were actually operating under those MC numbers. And this is a net number. This includes those that came in and those that left. But there's something else that's just around the corner. There are new regulations that are going to be implemented by FMCSA's clearinghouse that could cost 177,000 drivers, truck drivers, their CDLs. Now that would be quite a dent in capacity. Then we have other news coming out, and it has to do with the Federal Reserve once again cutting those interest rates by 25 basis points from 4.75 to 4.5%. Now, will this have an effect on volumes in the trucking industry? Well, in theory, if people have more money, then they are able to buy more things, right? We also have to remember that there was another interest cut in September by 50 basis points, which brings the total to 75 basis points up to now. But now we have to ask ourselves, what is the reality of these cuts? What is the actual dollar amount that consumers will save? According to Make It, if, for example, you have a credit card balance of $5,000, with these interest rate cuts, you are saving $3 per month. If you have a $10,000 3-year personal loan, you are also saving about $3 per month. If you have a $35,000 loan on a car that's over 5 years, you're saving about $12 per month. So these cuts are very nice and they give a lot of people hope, but in practice, in reality, they're actually not saving people as much money as we would think. To top it off, we do have to talk about the fact that we did just have an election. And considering the results of the election, we have to talk about immigration. Now, the Bureau of Labor Statistics estimated that 20% of truck drivers are immigrants, and FreightWaves states, and I quote, that while many of these are legal immigrants in the US, there are numerous reports of drivers using international driver's licenses and fake documents to drive in the United States. The question is, how many are actually driving with international driver's license or with falsified documents? We don't know, but definitely this could have an effect on capacity. Now, if you're one of those people wondering, well, why didn't I dig into the policies that could affect the trucking industry? Well, it's because things are still up in the air. How? Isn't the election over? Until policies become a reality, everything that's going to be happening between now and then is going to be based on sentiment. One thing that I have learned is that people tend to assume how others will react to something. And sometimes people tend to say that, oh, your reaction to this particular thing is wrong. One thing that I have learned being a psychology major is the fact that every single person has a unique experience of this world based on their past experiences. We all look at the world through our own special lens. So why am I saying this? Well, because the reality is, if a person believes that these policies will affect the trucking industry in a positive way, they will act one way. If a person believes that these policies will have a negative effect, they will act a completely different way. And one thing that I think we can all agree on is that Americans are divided at the moment. So let me give you a couple of examples. If you are a person who strongly believes that the policies are going to have a great impact on the trucking industry, you might be already planning to expand your operations. If you are, however, someone who looks at these policies and says, hey, they're not going to do anything good, you might start looking at ways to downsize your operations. So considering that sentiment does play a hefty role, what does that say about the projection of capacity? Will more people expand? Will more people contract their operations? What is the future of capacity? Will it increase or decrease? And what will that do to rates? And then there's another topic, tariffs, and there are pretty heated debates on this one. Now, FreightWaves said that importers have one of three ways they could potentially react to these tariffs. Number one, they could decide to absorb the tariffs and pay for them out of their pocket in order to stabilize the consumer prices. Number two, they could shift their production to countries that have more favorable trade agreements with the United States. Or number three, they could pass the increase in prices onto consumers. So now you, regardless of your political views, have to guess, how will importers react and what does that mean for trucking? Now I would love to hear your thoughts. How are you feeling? What are you seeing in the freight market from your experiences? And of course, what do you think the future holds for the trucking industry? Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me and watching today. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep learning. See you in the next video.